Hello, namaste, sat sri akal, assalamu alaikum. And this is my first episode of Rant with Sidrants. And people have been telling me how I should start doing a podcast, speaking about things about that I care about, bringing insights and about life, medicine, especially medicine, the world around medicine. Here's me being a small drop in the huge wide ocean. So let's see how I progress. Let's see how I do. And here we are. And today I'm going to introduce my friend, Dr. Ujjwal, and he's going to give us insight around USMLE, the whole controversy around H-1B visa, just life in the US, USMLE compared to NEET PG, whether you should go for USMLE or whether you should stick to NEET PG, whichever one is the better option. And let's see how this progresses. So today I have with me a USMLE resident who's now working in Oklahoma. What's the hospital's name that you're working in?
It's University of Oklahoma Health Campus.
Okay, University of Oklahoma Health Campus, and we're going to talk about USMLE, life in the US, NEET PG versus the US, the life of a resident in India compared to life of a resident in the US, and of course the H-1B visa and everything else. So let's start with the most basic and the most cliche question, like why USMLE?
I I guess everybody has their own different reasons for it. My reasons, to be honest, were the kind of life that I wanted. As a postgraduate trainee or as a resident, it's a stark difference between what I saw in India and then when I came to US for my electives. There was a very stark difference between the quality of life and the kind of life in general. So that was one of the big reasons why I wanted to pursue life here in US. Also, the other big reason is obviously money. If somebody is saying money is not the reason, I think they're pretty much lying about it. So residents are one of the least paid people in the hospitals in US. But even though we are the least paid people in the hospital, we still end up making a lot of money, and it's significantly more than what you would make as an Indian PG. Uh, but these were the two reasons, and then obviously the other stuff, the respect, the safety at workplace, all of that, and then the working conditions, the infrastructure, all of so unless you're working in a really high-end private college in India, I think the infrastructure tends to get much more uh, better here in US. We have good call rooms, good team rooms, all of that. Um, and then I think the quality of training, you can say, I think it's comparable in US and in India. There is a
Yeah.
lot hands-on experience back in India, and um, the patient number is really good. If I tell people here that I just see 7 patients a day, they would laugh it off. This is peanuts for them. They probably end up seeing like 50 to 100 patients every day. So we spend a lot of time on single patient and like kind of cover everything in a pretty comprehensive manner. But in India, I think they see a lot of there a lot of a good number of patients back home, so that's different experience. But like, yeah, summarizing, for me it was mainly the kind of life I wanted, the money, and the safety and the workplace conditions I really like about it.
इंडिया में तुम फोर्ड इको स्पोर्ट चलाते हो, वहां पे फोर्ड मुस्टैंग चला रहे हो तो
Yeah. नहीं, ऐसा तो नहीं है, मैं फोर्ड मस्तांग नहीं चला रहा यहाँ पे, बट या आई हैव अ नाइस कार.
okay.
या
Breaks my heart, but okay. S- So they say, like, I read somewhere, at least online, that the residents are paid $55,000.
65 सेट.
$65,000. So इंडिया के हिसाब से कितना कितना हो गया फिर ये? 60.
It comes to be about after taxes, it comes up around to be around like 3 to 3.5 lakhs per month.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
Hamara is almost 75,000. So almost one third of it or something like that.
Yeah. And then people obviously compare money, they compare the cost of living, which is
Yeah,
pretty
of
high.
course. Of course.
Uh, my rent is pretty high. I end up paying a lot of money for my rent
How
and
much is
other
the
stuff.
rent per month?
Uh, I moved into a bigger apartment now because my fiance is gonna move in with me, but yeah, roughly $1,000 to $1,500 you would
All
end up
right.
yeah.
Then
So roughly like 1 to 1.5 lakhs per month you would end up spending
सो
on
बचा फिर
rent.
हाथ में दो, फिर बचा हाथ में 2 लाख.
Yeah, and
And
then other miscellaneous expenses. I would say if you're like spending pretty comfortably, you would end up saving about a lakh a month.
yeah, okay, not bad.
Yeah, but yeah, that's one thing that people like you really start comparing, but you know that okay, your cost of living are high. You're making more money, but your cost of living is pretty high. But the thing is, the my I still end up saving a lakh a month, which won't be a good amount in US. Like let's say if I end up saving $1,000 a month, so it's not a good amount, and it might not be a very big amount in US, but my global spending power is a lot. You know,
All right.
if I had to buy an iPhone every year, I would be able to buy an iPhone every month, right? Or if
Okay.
I had to book my tickets to India to and fro, so I can, easily book a ticket to US every month, or I can maybe book a tour to Europe every 2 months. So, in that regards, my global spending power is really high compared to, let's say, somebody who's earning back in India.
Yeah, fair point. That's really impressive. So, like, when did you start? Like, when did you decide कि अच्छा ठीक है अभी मेरे को ये सब नहीं करना है, अब मेरे को सीधा USMLE करना है और मेरे को जो जाना है. तो you are also in UCM, so I think there's a whole culture there for going abroad, I'm guessing. Like, मतलब as in at least like because it's been such an established college, it's such a top ranking college. So obviously there are a lot of people who must have gone abroad, so they give you the guidance and everything as well, and kind of help you like direct you in that pathway. But when did you decide, and like what all did you do for it, and like how much time did it take you, all in all?
I decided pretty late, to be honest.
Yeah.
There is a trend in Delhi medical colleges that yeah, people end up going to US, but it's not a lot, to be honest. It's like probably like 4 to 5 people in every batch would end up
Okay.
going to. So in a batch of like 150. So that's pretty low number still compared to AIMS, which is pretty high. Uh, but yeah, I just wanted to go to US uh, just for experience. So I went to US in my like third year of medical college just for a research elective, just to explore US, come out of the country. I liked it, but I also realized how difficult it is to actually get through USMLE. So I didn't really go through my plans because I was pretty scared that yeah, it's a long journey. I don't really want to spend so many years of my life doing this. So I didn't really pursue it after my third year. I did all the other sorts of things in my life except medicine. But after like intern year, I realized, okay, this is time to make a decision. Do I need to do an PG or do I want to spend 2 years of my life just preparing for USMLE? They did end up making the hard decision of pursuing USMLE for all the reasons I stated. Spent 2 years going through all the steps one by one, doing my observerships, research, this and that, and then yeah, finally ended up matching here. So decided pretty late. People usually decide pretty early in their medical college, end up matching
Yeah.
pretty soon.
ये सारे गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज के बच्चे सब बाहर जा रहे हैं, यहाँ जा रहा है हमारा टैक्स मनी. But okay, we're like, so your father's a surgeon,
Yeah,
and like उन्होंने नहीं बोला कि बेटा क्या क्या करोगे, मेरी प्रैक्टिस है, इनहेरिट कर लेना,
yeah.
एंड उसी को उस पे ही और बढ़ा देना, क्वाड्रपल कर देना, है जो भी है.
Yeah, yeah, that's a fair point. He did say that, like any father. And when I told you that, yeah, I was doing all the other things other than medicine. So I was doing all the hospital management stuff with him, trying to see how hospital really works and how the business side of medicine works.
Yeah.
And I really did put in a lot of effort to understand the business side of it, and then I had hands-on experience of handling my father's hospital. But I did realize, man, it's not an easy business. It's a pretty dirty business. Running a hospital in India, you have to get your hands dirty. If you just go by the rules, and you won't be able to earn a living out of it. You have to get your hands dirty. There are all sorts of malpractices that happen, right? The commission system, the referrals, and a lot of other stuff that happens. So I didn't really want to do all those stuffs. And if I had to earn the honest living, uh, I realized hospital business wouldn't be the one that I would want to do. Yeah,
और ऊपर से सब चीज़ों की गाली डॉक्टर को पड़ती है. Like
exactly.
like there's so many times in the ICU when some patient dies and then they start asking me कि ये क्यों लगाया पैसा, ये क्यों लगाया पैसा. अरे भाई, मैंने थोड़ा डिसाइड करा है कि वेंटिलेटर का कितना पड़ेगा, ऑक्सीजन का कितना पड़ेगा. कल को मैं
Yeah,
एडमिट होता हूँ, मेरे को भी तो सेम पैसे देने पड़ जाएंगे. ये थोड़ा कि
yeah,
मेरे को 10% डिस्काउंट मिल जाए, पता नहीं, जितना भी मिलेगा एम्प्लॉय डिस्काउंट, उसके बियॉन्ड मेरे को और क्या मिलेगा.
yeah.
तो
And,
इतना हमको फाली हर चीज के लिए गाली देते रहते हैं, जबकि हमारा तो 1% उसका रोल होता है. कितने सारे लोग इन्वॉल्व हैं.
yeah,
कंपाउंडर
yeah,
हो गया, मैन्युफैक्चरर हो गया, मेडिसिन वाला हो गया.
yeah. Yeah, and and also the safety, like you brought up, like it's not just about arguing about money, it's also
या
like vandalism and violence. So there were a couple of incidents that we ran into while I was managing my first hospital, that there were concerns that this might escalate to vandalism, or this might escalate to violence, or look, people really, unless like you come from like the majority of population, they do not care about degrees or
या
how much experience a doctor has. They just care about money. कि सस्ते सस्ते में क्या हो जाए, बस काम हो जाए हमारा. Or then I realized, man, it's not worth it. Your experience doesn't matter, your degree doesn't matter as such. It's just like, तो कौन सबसे सस्ता काम कर देगा, you know. बेशक वो रिस्की हो, बेशक उसमें कॉम्प्लिकेशन रेट ज़्यादा हो, डजेंट मैटर, बस हो जाए कैसे भी करके. So that was kind of turned me off about pursuing a career uh, of medicine in India. And yeah,
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and it's really commendable because I was also kind of in the same boat like you. That once I was done with my internship, I was also like bit told कि अभी क्या पढ़ना है, नीट करना है, यूएसएमएलई करना है, and to me that time it sounded extremely scary कि अगर मुझे 2 साल लगा के पढ़ना पड़े and then exams देना पड़े with no guarantee कि कुछ इसके बाद क्या होने वाला है. And I
yeah,
think you're 2015 batch.
yeah, I am
So of course
20.
you also had to face COVID and all the delay that must have happened because of COVID.
Yeah,
So yeah, like commendable to you because to like go through all of that because it's bloody crazy. So I'm really glad it worked out for you in the long run.
yeah, man.
Your decisions like paid for you. So, like, now what is this like huge like controversy that everybody keeps talking about, at least like in the last 2 days, the whole H1B thing and everything. So I don't have any idea about it. I was reading about it. I read that you need H1B to work after you graduate, or there's some
Yeah,
J1 visa thing that you need as a USMLE graduate or something like that. I'm
yeah,
not very sure about these things. So
yeah.
you spread some light about these things.
Yeah, man. I am not a visa expert, to be honest, but the what I know is most people who pursue USMLE and end up coming to the US on
Yeah.
visa are J1 visa. J1 is a kind of exchange visa. So you study in US, and then you sign a pact that you have to come back to India after you finish your studying.
All right.
So you come back to India and work in India for 2 years, or you waive off that pact by working in US in the area of need
All
for
right.
three years, right? So really, a very few number of people end up coming to US on H1B and not
Okay.
J. Um, People do prefer H1B because it's, they don't have to worry about waiver, coming back to India, this
Yeah.
and that. They prefer H1B. Uh, but a very few programs actually sponsor H1B. So with this new fee, I think few programs will sponsor H1B because there's $100,000 fee attached to it. which is more than what they pay residents
Yeah.
as salary, right? So I think yeah, for the newer batch, I think not many programs will sponsor H1B. But yeah, when you're doing that waiver, when you're transitioning from J1 to like doing your waiver, you have to transition from J1 to H1B. So I don't know how that would turn out to be since we have the new fee attached to it. It might make it more difficult to find waiver jobs after you finish your education. But I do not personally think that would be a big issue because uh, as a waiver, you end up making like 300, $350,000 depending on what specialty you uh, finish your residency in, and if you subspecialize or you did not subspecialize. So I would say 300 is like pretty basic that you would end up making. So if even if you're making 300 and you end up paying 100,000 extra for the first year,
Yeah.
uh, visa fee, I don't think that would. I mean, yes, it's a expense, but it's not like you cannot deal with it.
उतना तो आजकल प्राइवेट कॉलेज में इंटर्नशिप में पे कर रहे हैं.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of
And
private
anyway,
colleges.
I paid $10,000 in the past as well. So it's like 10 times now. But yeah, it's not like something that will like make or break things.
But I didn't know about this thing that they have to come back to India. Like I didn't know that you after USMLE, like after you're done with your residency, that if you've
Yeah.
gone on a J1 visa, that you come back to India. So or like you go to some needy areas. But
Yeah.
then like do the programs mention that or do you separately apply for a J1 or separately apply for a H1B? Like like how do you like figure your way through it? Or like do you get rejected by H1B, then you go for J1? Like how does that happen?
No, I mean, when you apply to programs, they specifically mention if they're gonna sponsor you J1 or H1B.
Okay.
And then you select, okay, if you're applying to this program, it's only sponsoring J1, so you have to accept J1.
All right.
Because a majority of programs will just sponsor J1 and not for
But
H1B.
then, okay, so but then I don't really, so like I don't really know a lot of people who've come back, maybe because they've just like started, like you started. So most people who around my batch have just started, but I don't really know
Yeah.
a lot of people who've come back after doing USMLE. So where do they even go? Like once they're done with it, and if they don't plan to like work in the needy areas.
I mean, needy areas are fine. It's not like Oklahoma, in a way, is a needy area.
Okay, so
So
they
it's
end up
not like,
working in those areas. So and
yeah,
what do you do? Like, so how many years do you have to work in those areas?
3 years.
And so what happens after 3 years?
After 3 years, you get H1B and you're free to work wherever you want to work.
Okay. But so
Yeah.
that's also a problem, right? So like after say after 3 years, you're done with
Mhm.
J1, and maybe like obviously like everything is unpredictable right now in general and
Yeah.
it's fickle. But if this thing continues, somebody is just finishing off their J1 and now entering the H1B. So if the
Yeah.
somebody decides to not, if a hospital decides to not sponsor their thing, so what are you
Yeah.
gonna do? Like go back?
I mean, yeah, I mean, if nobody's giving you a job, you
Yeah,
have to come
fair.
back. But the thing with the good thing about being a doctor is
Yeah.
that there's a scarcity of doctors. So, unlike engineers, you will definitely find a job
Plus
somewhere.
also.
Yeah,
Yeah. Plus, also, I was seeing this video, and like that's what my observation is. Like compared to
uh,
a lot of other courses, like I've seen like if you're a somebody, if you're like in finance, if you're in accounting or whatever you're in, if you're an engineer, you have to give two exams, maybe SAT or like IELTS for Canada and everything, and do a GMAT, and that's how you then you
um,
apply for a job somewhere, and that's it. While for
yeah,
us, we have to do step one, step two, step three, योर ऑब्जर्वरशिप एंड देन उसका इंटरव्यू. तो ऑलमोस्ट 5 स्टेप प्रोसेस के बाद, मतलब पूरा तुम्हारा
yeah,
कच्चिटा जानने के बाद, पूरा वेटिंग के बाद, दैट इज व्हेन दे अलाउ यू टू एंटर द सिस्टम.
yeah,
So, and I even saw a video where they were talking about how they would trust an Indian doctor over anybody else. So, I mean,
yeah,
I feel like in that case, the hate against us is kind of on the down low because, like, you have to go through a crazy vetting process before you can even enter the American
yeah,
hospital.
yeah, yeah. I agree, and I think 1/3 of doctors in the US are Indians.
Yeah,
In I think Indian doctors have a pretty good reputation here. Like people do,
so far.
I have heard this a lot of times. I have, yeah, I have heard this a lot of times that Indian doctors are pretty meticulous. Patients, they just love their Indian doctors, and you'll just find an Indian doctor every city you go in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fair, fair. Well, that's pretty nice. And like, here's hoping like there's no complications on happening on that front. So like, so what's like your average when we talk about work-life balance?
yeah,
So, if I have to explain you my residency, you're in what year now? Second year.
yeah.
Okay. So
Second,
if I have to explain you my average day in residency, especially in the first year, और लाइक
uh-huh.
चलो कोई भी ईयर ले लो तो आई हैड टू वर्क फ्रॉम 8 a.m. onwards तो मतलब
Hmm.
8 a.m. means I have to either go at 7:30 7 or 6:30 depending on how many patients are there and from
Oh,
8 a.m. till 5 p.m. we had OPDs so from 5 p.m. to 1 घंटा ब्रेक बीच में ब्रेक मिल जाता था घूमा फिरा के and then from 6 p.m. again evening round still 10 p.m. 11 p.m. at the behest of the senior then
mhm,
depending on their moods and everything then 2 to 3 call days in a week and that's 24 hours so almost like 36 hours a shift week with no off obviously after that and if I'm working in the ICU then it's 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. or 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. So like first 12 15 days it's 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and the next 15 days is 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. so
mhm.
so yeah, so there's no off here. The only off that I might get would be an unofficial off on a Sunday. So that's it. And that's my life as a first year. सेकेंड ईयर में तो ऑफकोर्स जूनियर आ जाते हैं तो थोड़ा कम ऑफ मिल जाता है पर अदर उस तरीके से भी कोई ऑफ नहीं है लाइक यू वर्किंग ऑन पेपर एटलीस्ट द इंटायर 7 days so
Yeah.
that's the life of an Indian resident and getting 75,000 per month in some states not in all states so when we compare that to yours what is your average day like.
Yeah, man, it's pretty opposite, I would say. Is We don't work, at least in my program, so it really varies from program to program.
Yeah.
In my program, nobody work. I mean, we don't have any shift that lasts longer than 12 hours.
Okay.
So 12 hours is the maximum that you can work in a day, and you have to have 1 day off in a week. There's no, I mean, yeah, that's compulsory to have 1 day off per week. Um, so if I would just give, it depends how where am I posted right now. If it's in if like ICU is like the busiest rotation, so it's like 7 to 7, 6 days a week, right? But if yeah, but 1 day off,
That's also hectic.
yeah. So 7 to 7. But what usually we end up doing is like there are 4 people in the ICU, like
That's so bad, man.
two upper levels, two interns, and then we have a fellow in the
No,
ICU,
so but your
right?
exchange happens between the two upper level and the two lower, or the exchange between happens between your level only. Like you have to decide the timing between your level only, guys.
No, no, it's like a team. It's a team of four
Uh,
people,
Acha.
and, and the fellow runs the show.
Okay,
Uh,
so how do you decide your timing and everything?
so usually it's 7 to 7 officially, but what people end up doing is, they go in like staggered manner. The one person will leave after 4, then 3 people will cover, then the one will leave at 5, then one at 6, and one will end up staying till 7.
Okay.
And then we will decide turns who's gonna stay till 7. So you end up staying till 7 like 2 days a week or so.
All right, not bad.
Yeah. But ICU is definitely the one of the busiest rotations, but you end up doing ICU like a month every year or like 6 weeks every year.
What the hell? We have it every 2 months we have an ICU. At least three ICUs per year or four ICUs per year, depending on yeah.
Yeah,
That's
not here. And then the easier rotations, like wards is like kind of in a midway. I work from like 7 a.m. to like 4 p.m.
yeah.
Uh, most days, one day is a call day where I'm working 7 to 7. And then weekends are half days, 7 to 12, 7 to 12, and then I have 1 day off. So I'm like
Wow.
what 4 full days, 2 half days, and 1 day is off.
So what do you usually
Uh,
do in your free time?
Free times, yeah, residencies is hard. So just relaxing, others catching up on other stuff, going out with friends, playing, working out, just chilling, working on some research projects for I want to do a subspecialty,
All right.
oncology.
Oh,
So
that's
just
pretty
work.
nice.
Yeah.
So Do you even have do you also have the concept of a thesis? Like you also have, like submit a thesis or something by the end of
No,
the all right.
that's not a compulsion for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's not bad. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah. And then every 6 weeks you go outpatient. So you work inpatient for 6 weeks, and then after 6 weeks you go for 2 weeks. You go to outpatient for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So your weeks are off outpatient. You just work in clinics, and those are like pretty chill. You work from like 8 to 4, 5 day, 4 days. Your Friday evenings are just like education. Weekends are
Yeah.
completely all of that. Yeah.
So
Uh,
otherwise, yes, were you gonna say something?
no, and then the vacation. We get 3 weeks of official vacation every
Yeah.
year. And then depending on where you're posted, I have like 12 weeks off this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and what kind of patients do you get? Like, what are the most kind of cases that you see? Like, what diseases would you say are more prevalent in the US?
We see all the bread and butter internal medicine cases, pretty sick ones too, COPD exacerbation, heart failure exacerbations, infectious diseases, osteos, this and that, GI bleeders, all the GI cases, a lot of cancer patients as well. Uh, but yeah, I mean, the patient complexity is pretty, the acuity is really high. Uh,
And
and we, yeah.
And like in terms of teaching practice, do they practice more in terms of the academics of it? Like what maybe like say augmentin the sorry, not augmentin, amoxicillin the So what are the mechanisms of action of amoxicillin? Will they teach you or prepare you for that, or they just tell you like the what is the like amoxicillin ka kaun sa brand ab dena hai isko and all of that? The is more
I
towards
mean,
the clinical, practical, advanced, or is it more towards like the basics of it, like why you're doing it, what does the research say, and everything?
at this stage in residency, I don't think they'll explain us the mechanism of amoxicillin, but more like, this is why are we giving amoxicillin? What bugs are we covering? What organisms are we covering? Is it broad enough? Should we narrow down? What does research say about giving a course of like 10 days versus like 7 days versus like 5 days, this and that. Uh, was more so on those ground versus like not basic sciences, I would say.
All right. So, and what about like how do the patients pay? Like, do they pay? Because I only heard about like how expensive like the treatment is in the US. So, is it
Yeah.
like the insurance covers it all? So, like it's only through insurance, or they also like do they pay by cash as well? Like, what kind of like structure is that?
Yeah, I don't think anyone would pay by cash. It's pretty
It's all
expensive.
insurance,
It's all insurance, or if it's no insurance, then it's just charity.
charity.
So
Yeah, okay.
I mean, there are a lot of homeless people that come in the hospital, uninsured people, homeless people. So government does provide some Medicare, Medicaid benefits, all of that. So Medicare, Medicaid covers. These are like government insurance schemes. So they
Yeah,
cover for most of the expenses for the people who cannot afford it. And then most people who are employed, their employer covers the insurance. So like I have a health insurance that's given to me by the university.
got it.
So I have some copay, but it's not gonna be crazy expensive. I mean, it
Oh,
will still be expensive, but not like that it would bankrupt me or something.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now 5 मिनट है तो 5 मिनट में सारा ऐसे रैपिड फायर वगैरह करते हैं. And do you still miss India?
I do. Obviously, I spent most of my life in India. I do miss India, my parents, my friends, all the places I used to hang out at. Yeah, I do miss India sometimes.
अब तुम्हारा वापस आना बहुत ही मुश्किल है. All right, so let's do a rapid fire, okay? So,
Uh,
what is the specialty that you hate interacting with the most in the hospital?
Critical care,
What is the specialty you really love interacting with the most in the hospital?
gastroenterology, and oncology.
Interesting. Oncology. I've never had a good experience with them.
I
Subject,
want
sorry?
I want to do oncology, so I like it.
Okay, that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Um, Subject you've hated to study in medicine.
Medicine in general, back in med school.
Okay. One thing that you hate of being, one thing that you hate about being a doctor.
That I cannot work remotely.
It's fair. There's
Yeah.
only the WFH stands for work from hospital. If not a doctor, what would you want to be?
Um, Probably an entrepreneur, start business of some sort.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
What's the most unpopular opinion you have about medicine in general?
That's interesting. Uh, Most controversial opinion about medicine. I think most of the times doctors do not understand what they are doing. It's mostly supportive care for the most of, I mean, in a lot of cases, we
Yeah,
don't know what's happening. We're as clueless as you guys are.
yeah. If you could suggest one thing that could like improve or change medicine, what would it be?
Uh, I mean, one thing for now that would really improve and change medicine is integration of AI into medicine. That would really, uh, you know, standardize the care that patients will get, despite the doctor's experience and education.
Is Indian medical system as bad as everybody claims it to be?
India has one of the best doctors and one of the highly trained, knowledgeable doctors, but the work environment and the work toxicity can get, it's something that needs to be worked on.
All right. Okay. That was really insightful. Thank you so much for giving time, especially on your weekend. And really thank you for like giving me the opportunity to speak to you.
Of course,
And
not talking to you.
yeah,
Yeah, I had.
likewise. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, bro.
I'm really glad I did this. I've known you for like 2 years on at least online, and I'm really
Yeah,
glad to have spoken to you. So
likewise, bro.
that's pretty
Yeah,
nice. And congratulations on your engagement. Actually, I didn't even know that you're dating somebody. I never saw any post of yours, something like that. So I never knew that you were with somebody.
yeah, we were kind of hideous about it.
Okay, that's pretty nice. So
Yeah,
congratulations on that, and you have a nice, fun weekend. And thank you so much for coming.
of course, man. See you soon. I'll text you when I come to India.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Whenever you come to Delhi.
Of course, bro.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, see you, bro.
Bye.
Bye.